Today on our 2013 Acura MDX, we're going to be taking a look at the CURT Custom Fit Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number 13354. So here's what our hitch looks like fully installed. Now it is a Class 3 hitch, so it's going to give us that 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. It does feature a reinforced collar, giving it added strength and a nice clean finished look. Our hitch is going to utilize a standard 5/8 pin and clip. They're not included, but you can pick some up on our website using part number PC3. Now as far as the safety chain loops go, it's going to be a plate style welded to the bottom of the cross tube and the receiver tube here. And as you can see, we're not going to have too much trouble getting most size hooks on or off. Our hitch is rated at a 400 pounds of tongue weight, along with 4,000 pounds of gross trailer weight rating. Now it is also rated for use with weight distribution systems, and that's going to jump the tongue weight up to 500 pounds and the trailer rating up to 5,000 pounds. Now I do want to mention you always want to double check with your vehicle's owner's manual to make sure that your vehicle can handle pulling that amount of weight. I'd like to give you a few measurements that'll help you when deciding for accessories for your new hitch, such as a ball mount, a bike rack, or even a cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper is 4.5 inches. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening is 16 3/8 inches. Now that we've gone over some of the features and benefits, let's show you how we get it installed. Now the first step of our installation is going to be lower our spare tire. Now after we have our spare tire out of the way, we're going to need to lower our exhaust, and we're going to have one hanger on each side of our mufflers. Now we're also going to have another hanger on each muffler that's going to be directly to the outside of our tailpipe on each side of our car. So we're going to go ahead and take these off the rubber isolators as well. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of penetrating oil and I'm going to spray a small amount onto the shaft and into the rubber isolator. That's going to help me slide the rubber isolator off the shaft of the hanger. And we're going to do that on both sides. We're just going to slide that rubber isolator off the post. Now before we let our exhaust come all the way down, we are going to need to support it to make sure it doesn't drop too far. So I'm going to put this strap here, so it'll only allow my exhaust to come down so far, and then we're going to remove the other rubber hanger. Using a 10mm socket, I'm going to pull all the fasteners off that are holding the heat shield in place, and there should be 2 towards the very back of our vehicle and then 1 towards the front of our vehicle at the end of our heat shield. Now we're going to pull both heat shields off, 1 on each side. We're going to set the heat shield and the hardware aside because we will be reinstalling them later. Before we put our hitch in place, I want to go over the few mounting locations where it's going to be secured at. We're going to have 4 holes in our frame rails on the inside. Now, the 2 holes in the back, we're going to be using some M14 bolts, and they're going to be threading in right here. But we're also going to be using a conical tooth washer. And if you can see, there's some very small teeth on our washer here. When we go to install them, we want to make sure that the teeth are facing the hitch. Now up here, we're going to have a different set of hardware. We're going to have some M14 flange bolts. They're going to almost have a shoulder or looks like a built-in washer on the bolt. And those are going to be going towards the very rear of our vehicle. Now before we put our hardware in place, since these are open weld nuts in our frame, I'm going to take a little bit of penetrating oil and spray it in each one of my holes. Then I'm going to come back with a nylon brush and clean out the threads. That way I don't have to worry about any debris or anything messing up the threads. Now if you need one of these brushes, you can pick one up on our website using part number 814092. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to get our hitch put into position. Now I'm going to get 1 bolt in on each side just to support the hitch. That way I can get the rest of my hardware in place. With all the hardware in place, I'm going to come back using a 22mm socket and I'm going to snug up all my bolts. We'll do that for all the remaining hardware. Now I do want to mention the bolts up here. I'm going to be using a 19mm socket because although they're M14 bolts, it's going to have a 19mm head on it. I'll repeat that for all the other flange bolts. I can now come back and torque down all my hardware, and we're going to find that torque spec in the instructions. And we're going to repeat that for all our remaining hardware. With the hitch in place, we can go ahead and start reinstalling our heat shields. With our heat shields back in place, we can go ahead and lift our exhaust back into position and slide the rubber isolator back onto the post. Now all we have left to do is put our spare tire away. And that'll finish up our look at the CURT Custom Fit Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number 13354 on our 2013 Acura MDX.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.